Genesis chapter 37. And Jacob lived in the land of his father's travels, in the land of Canaan. These are the generations of Jacob. Joseph, a son of 17 years, was tending the flock with his brothers, with Bilhah's sons, and with Zilpah's sons, his father's wives. And he was a youth. And Joseph came with an evil report of them to their father. And Israel loved Joseph more than all his sons, because he was a son of old age to him. And he made a robe reaching to the feet. And his brothers saw that their father loved him more than all his brothers. And they hated him, and they were not able to speak peaceably to him. And Joseph dreamed a dream, and told it to his brothers. And they increased to hate him still more. And he said to them, Now hear this dream which I have dreamed. And behold, we were binding sheaves in the middle of the field. And behold, my sheaf rose up, and also stood up. And behold, your sheaves came around, and bowed themselves to my sheaf. And his brothers said to him, Shall you indeed reign over us, or shall you really rule over us? And they hated him still more because of his dreams, and because of his words. And he dreamed still another dream, and told it to his brothers. And he said, Behold, I have dreamed another dream. And behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars were bowing themselves to me. And he told it to his father and to his brothers. And his father rebuked him and said to him, What is this dream which you have dreamed? Shall we indeed come to bow ourselves to the earth to you, I, your mother, and your brothers? And his brothers were jealous of him, but his father paid attention to the word. And his brothers went to feed the flock of their father in Shechem. And Israel said to Joseph, Are not your brothers feeding the flocks in Shechem? Come, and I will send you to them. And he said to him, Here I am. And he said to him, Now go, and see the welfare of your brothers, and the welfare of the flock, and bring word back to me. And he sent him out of the valley of Hebron, and he came to Shechem. And a man found him, and behold, he was wandering in the field. And the man asked him, saying, What do you seek? And he said, I am looking for my brothers. Please tell me where they are feeding. And the man said, They have left here, for I heard them say, Let us go towards Dothan. And Joseph went after his brothers, and found them in Dothan. And they saw him from a distance, and before he came near to them, they plotted against him to kill him. And they said each to his brother, Behold, this master of dreams is coming. And come now, and let us kill him, and throw him into one of the pits. And let us say, An evil beast has eaten him, and see what will become of his dreams. And Reuben heard, and he saved him from their hands, and said, Let us not smite his soul. And Reuben said to them, Do not shed blood. Throw him into this pit here in the desert, but do not lay a hand on him, so that he might deliver him from their hands, to return him to his father. And when Joseph came to his brothers, they stripped his long coat from Joseph, the long coat on him, reaching to his feet. And they took him and threw him into the pit being empty and no water in it. And they sat down to eat bread, and they lifted up their eyes, and looked, and behold, a caravan of Ishmaelites coming from Gilead. And their camels were bearing spices, and balsam gum, and sticky gum, going down to take them to Egypt. And Judah said to his brothers, "What gain is it that we kill our brother and conceal his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and do not let our hand be on him. For he is our brother, our flesh." And his brothers listened. And men, Midianites, traders, came by, and they drew up Joseph, and took him out of the pit. And they sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver. And they brought Joseph into Egypt. And Reuben came back to the pit, and behold, Joseph was not in the pit. And he tore his garment, and he returned to his brothers and said, "The child, he is not, and I, where shall I go?" And they took Joseph's long coat, and killed a ram of the goats, and dipped the long coat in the blood. And they sent the long coat reaching to the feet, and they took it to their father, and said, "We have found this. Now look, is it your son's long coat?" And he knew it, and said, "My son's long coat! An evil beast has eaten him. Surely Joseph is torn in pieces." And Jacob tore his clothing, and put sackcloth on his loins, and he mourned many days for his son. And all his sons and all his daughters rose up to comfort him, and he refused to be comforted, and said, "I will go down to Sheol, mourning for my son." And his father wept for him. And the Midianites sold him into Egypt, to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, the chief of the executioners. Mark chapter 9. And he said to them, "Truly I say to you, there are some of those standing here, who in no way shall taste of death until they see the kingdom of God coming in power." And after 6 days Jesus takes along Peter and James and John, and carries them into a high mount apart, alone. And he was transfigured before them, and his garments became shining, very white like snow, such as a fuller on earth is not able to whiten. And Elijah with Moses was seen by them, and they were speaking with Jesus. And answering, Peter said to Jesus, "Rabbi, it is good for us to be here, and let us make 3 tabernacles, one for you, and one for Moses, and one for Elijah." For he did not know what to say, for they were very fearful. And a cloud was overshadowing them, and a voice came out of the cloud, saying, "This is my Son, the beloved. Hear him." And suddenly, looking around, they saw no one any longer, but Jesus alone with them. And as they were coming down from the mount, he commanded them that they should tell no one what they saw, except when the Son of Man should rise from the dead. And they held the word to themselves, debating what it is to rise from the dead. And they asked him, saying, "Do not the scribes say that Elijah must come first?" And answering he said to them, "Indeed, Elijah coming first restores all things. And how it has been written of the Son of Man, that he suffer many things, and be despised. But I say to you, Elijah also has come, and they did to him whatever they desired, even as it has been written of him." And coming to the disciples, he saw a great crowd around them, and scribes arguing with them. And at once all the crowd, seeing him, were greatly amazed. And running up, they greeted him. And he questioned the scribes, "What are you arguing with them?" And one answered out of the crowd, saying, "Teacher, I brought my son to you, having a dumb spirit. and wherever it seizes him, it dashes him, and he foams, and gnashes his teeth, and he wastes away. And I told your disciples that they might expel it, and they were not able. And answering them he said, O unbelieving generation, how long will I be with you? How long shall I endure you? Bring him to me. And they brought him to him. And seeing him, the spirit immediately convulsed him, and falling on the ground, he wallowed, foaming. And he questioned his father, How long a time is it while this has happened to him? And he said, From childhood. And often it threw him both into fire and into water, that it might destroy him. But if you are able to do anything, help us, having pity on us. And Jesus said to him, If you are able to believe, all things are possible to those believing. And immediately crying out, the father of the child said with tears, Lord, I believe, help my unbelief. And seeing that a crowd is running together, Jesus rebuked the unclean spirit, saying to it, Dumb and deaf spirit, I command you, come out from him, and you may no more go into him. And crying out, and convulsing him very much, it came out, and he became as if dead, so as for many to say that he died. But taking hold of his hand, Jesus raised him up, and he stood up. And he entering into a house, his disciples questioned him privately, Why were we not able to cast it out? And he said to them, This kind can go out by nothing, except by prayer and fasting. And going forth from there, they passed by through Galilee, and he desired that no one know, for he taught his disciples, and said to them, The Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of men, and they will kill him. And being killed, he will rise up the third day. But they did not know the word, and feared to question him. And they came to Capernaum, and having come into the house, he questioned them, What were you disputing to yourselves in the way? And they were silent, for they argued with one another in the way as to who was greater. And sitting, he called the 12, and said to them, If anyone desires to be first, he shall be last of all, and servant of all. And taking a child, he set it in their midst, and having embraced it, he said to them, Whoever receives one of such children on my name receives me. And whoever receives me, he not only receives me, but the one having my name receives me. And whoever receives me, he not only receives me, but he sending me. And John answered him, saying, Teacher, we saw someone casting out demons in your name, who does not follow us, and we forbade him, because he does not follow us. But Jesus said, Do not forbid him. But Jesus said, Do not forbid him, for there is no one who shall do a work of power in my name, yet be able to speak evil of me quickly. For who is not against us is for us. For whoever gives you a cup of cold water to drink in my name, because you are of Christ, truly I say to you, in no way he will lose his reward. And whoever causes one of these little ones that believe in me to offend, it is good for him if rather a millstone be laid about his neck, and he be thrown into the sea. And if your hand offend you, cut it off, for it is profitable for you to enter into life maimed, than having two hands to go away into hell, into the fire that cannot be put out, where the worm does not die, and the fire is not put out. And if your foot causes you to offend, cut it off, for it is profitable for you to enter into life lame, than having 2 feet to be thrown into hell, into the fire that cannot be put out, where their worm does not die, and the fire is not put out. And if your eye offends you, cast it out, for it is profitable for you to enter into the kingdom of God one-eyed, than having 2 eyes to be thrown into the hell of fire, where the worm does not die, and the fire is not put out. For everyone will be salted with fire, and every sacrifice will be salted with salt. Salt is good, but if the salt becomes saltless, by what will you season? Have salt in yourselves, and be at peace with one another.